Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Amber Unfiltered. Today I want to talk to you guys about why I don't watch reality dating shows anymore and why I kind of feel like they're like a social experiment or like social engineering, and just my thoughts on that. This idea came to me last night. I was talking to my husband about this. I think I was watching a video about Love Island. I've never watched the show. To my knowledge, and people keep asking me if I watch it. Okay, maybe not a lot of people, but like one person has asked me, and I feel like people would probably assume that I would like that type of stuff because I love reality TV, or I used to love it. I don't love it as much anymore. Actually, I don't even really watch it anymore, believe it or not. And I was like one of the OGs, like Rock of Love, like I Love New York, like Real Chance at Love or Real Chance of Love, like all the way from Flavor Flav all the way on, like Real Housewives, Love and Hip Hop. I mean, I watched all of it. Like that was my jam. But I've stopped because it feels like everyone wants to be famous, and it's so performative, and it's so cringed and heavily produced. Like I used to really love Love and Hip Hop Miami, and I gave up watching this last season because it was pathetic watching how low people would stoop just for airtime. But before I do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to cash out me at Amber Unfiltered Show, that'd be greatly appreciated. I don't know why I was holding my hands like a TV producer or like a TV host or something. Who do I think I am? But anyways, happy Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. I've had a shit show this week at work, so I'm just like, I'm done. I'm checked out. I'm clocked out. I'm even shocked that I'm doing this because I was in such a shitty mood literally before I hit record. But for some reason, you guys give me strength, you guys give me joy, and this gives me a little outlet too. So it's like a two-way street. We're both getting something from it. But anyways, I hope you guys have something fun planned. My goal is to probably post this next week or maybe the week after, depending on if I record other videos. Also, it might get interrupted because I'm expecting a call back from my doctor because I reached out to them on Monday to get accommodation paperwork filled out by my surgeon, and then these raggedy assholes ain't hitting me back. So I got a little attitude, and then the fucking internet went out at work, and that was a whole shit show this morning trying to figure that out and trying to figure out next steps. So I'm done. I'm mentally done, okay? I'm on an island somewhere in Fiji with my ass cheeks out. I don't know, in a thong. I don't know. I don't even wear thongs, but that was what I felt like saying, so I said it. So anyways, I wanted to touch on this topic because like I said, no, I wasn't cooking. So my husband's work, they raggedy for this. I got my eye on y'all. He started a new job a couple of weeks ago, and they do potlucks. And I was like, white people love them a good potluck, child. I mean, black people do too. We call it a cookout, but tomato. So he was like, hey, baby, he's emailing me at work because he works in a secure facility, so we can't text. So we just email. So he's like, hey, baby, they're going to be doing a potluck tomorrow. Do you have any ideas of what I can make? I'm looking around like, bitch, who gives barely 24 hours notice for a potluck? I was like, that takes some planning. You got to go buy the shit. You got to cook it. You got to let it rest, and you got to reheat. I said, you know what? This is so ghetto. Do you work with a bunch of white people or not? Or is it a bunch of black people? I don't fucking know. But anyways, of course, my doctor wants to call me now. I knew this was going to happen. I'm not stopping the video. I'm sorry. I'll call them hoes back. So anyway, I love y'all more. I mean, I love my health and I love my body, but I love y'all more. So anyways, he was like, can you make me something? And I was going to make this sausage rotel dip that I always make. That shit is so fire. It's just like fried or brown sausage. I like break it up. I'll take it out the casing and just fry it like that, but you can do it however you want, or you can already find it ground in the store. I kind of like that extra stuff. It makes me feel like I'm like a butcher or some shit. You know, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. Remember that song by Beyonce and Nicki? That song was hard. But anyway, so I was going to do that, and you basically take a bunch of Velveeta. I was going to say Velveeta. I was thinking of the crackers. I'm hungry, that's why. And I just ate. That's how I know I'm fat. I'm always thinking about food. Pre-thinking about food. Pre-warming it up in my mind. But it's like Velveeta, and you melt that, and then you do Rotel, which is like canned chilies or canned peppers or whatever. I think it's like diced chilies and like tomatoes and stuff. You dump all that shit in a pot, a crock pot. You can do it in a Dutch oven, a pan, whatever the fuck you got going on. That shit slaps. And I make mine. No, it didn't turn out spicy. I just used a lot of salt and pepper. I don't season it with shit else. And people are like, what did you put in this? I'm like, salt and pepper. Those are the quintessential seasonings. If you don't use that, you don't even have a dish. I'm sorry, I said what I said. Most people will be shocked because black people tend to be very heavy-handed with seasonings for the most part. I'm not. I actually like to dial it back. I like to let the sauce, or like if there's a cheese or something very specific, I try to let that sing. Like I was shocked the other day. I was making this HelloFresh, and I didn't season it really that much because I forgot which one did I make? Was it the beef skewers? was it a Mediterranean or Middle Eastern dish? I forgot what it was, but it was like an Asian dish. I think it was. I think I made like these like steak skewers with fucking, it was hoisin sauce. That shit was so fire with like I think it had chimichurri. No, I must be mixing it up with something else. But anyway, I made a dish the other day and I knew that there was like a really specific sauce or ingredient that I was like, I really don't need to season this because this is going to season the whole shit. And that's when I knew I was growing up in the world. But anyway, so I wanted to talk to y'all about my thoughts on this. So I was cooking and making the Rice Krispies. That's where I was going, the potluck. So Nick went on ChatGPT. I thought this man was a genius and came up with this idea on his own. He was like, babe, I ChatGPT'd it. And I was like, I was about to give you all this credit and be like, oh my God, good husband, like, come fuck me now. And I'm just like, no, you can't. Like, I can't give you the brownie points that I want to give you. 10 points to Gryffindor, 10 points deducted from Gryffindor. So he was like, hey, baby, I need you to make me something for the potluck. My husband don't cook. So I had to do it. And I was like, okay. I thought I'm slow because I thought, I was going to say the R word. Let me not say that. I'm slow because I thought you had to bake Rice Krispies. I didn't realize that basically you make the mixture over the stove and then add the Rice Krispies because the cereal's already cooked. So I was up making those and them shits turned out so good. And I was like, yeah, can you save me some so I can have some? I was like, I'm over here making food for people I ain't never met. I don't know. You barely know. And you out here got me cooking at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. I was like, I must really love your ass. But as I was, oh my God, my laptop died. As I was doing that, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to hold it because it's kind of hard leaning over to look at it and to record. But so I was like, okay. So I was listening to, I think her name is On the Rocks with Jada. She does reviews of like pop culture, especially Black pop culture, like Real Housewives, Love and Marriage, Huntsville, stuff like that. So I was watching her and I think she was talking about a dating show, or maybe I was watching someone else, Between Two Worlds with Yanni. She was doing a Love Island video and I watched that and it made me think. So here's where the topic came in. And I think I started talking to my husband about it and I was like, that would be a good video idea. So here we are. So the first thing I put, because I truly think this, I'm probably a conspiracy theorist in this way, but I put into Google, are dating shows a social experiment? I definitely feel like they are. I'm sorry, I said what I said. It's a very socially curated environment, a very like, maybe not fully engineered, but in my mind it is. It's a socially engineered experiment. It says, while dating shows market themselves as social experiments like Love is Blind or Married at First Sight, they are primarily entertainment. But I'm thinking the first season of Love is Blind, I think most of them were actually there for love. I think most of them really genuinely wanted partnership, companionship. They wanted to do life with somebody. I could feel the seriousness compared to other seasons. I think I stopped watching about season 3 because it just felt like they were churning them out and manufacturing them just for drama, just for shock value. It wasn't real and people were on there like seeing what they could get out of it. Like, oh, I'm gonna get followers, or I'm gonna get brand deals. I'm gonna get my own podcast. But that stuff to me is very temporary. Not everyone needs a podcast. Not everyone deserves a podcast. Not everyone has anything meaningful to add to the conversation. Not saying that some podcasts don't, because I do believe that there are some that are, but girl, no, I don't know why I'm out of breath. Why am I talking so fast? I ain't got nowhere to be. So it says they lack the rigorous scientific controls, ethical oversight, and unbiased methodologies of true academic research. See, I kind of disagree with that. I do feel like they lack ethical oversight, because you hear all the time about contestants who go on the show or participants say that, oh, a producer made me do this, or I was unsafe in this situation. I think Love is Blind has a lot of assault cases pending right now for that very reason, because they were put with people who are actually dangerous for their safety and physical well-being, but producers didn't care because they wanted a moment. But I'm like, someone's safety their safety should be a top priority. You want the participant to be on camera, you want them to feel confident, you want them to keep those cameras rolling and keep making money, then you ought to treat them well and you ought to make sure they're safe and that all the contestants are vetted. And they claim they are, but I feel like a lot of it they source or scout from the internet, which I think is very dangerous, because you can portray yourself a certain way online and you might not necessarily match up to that in real life. Is it storming? Hold on, I'm being nosy. Okay, sorry. It's been storming like crazy here. Okay, so it says, here's a breakdown of why they blur the lines between science and spectacle. Number 1, the scientific illusion. Many of these shows, like Married at First Sight, bring in relationship experts or psychologists to legitimize the premise. However, the experiments are usually flawed. I feel like these psychologists or these people, not to shit on them or bash their work, they probably do great when they're not on camera. But I feel like they have to zhuzh it up or jazz it up for the camera. They have to play a certain part. And I just don't like that, because how do we know that their intentions are pure? They're there for a paycheck. They're there for a bag at the end of the day. They don't give a fuck about these people. That's what I think, but I could be wrong. Some of them might, but haven't really seen one on TV that's like been gung-ho and like really, I feel like a lot of couples too don't last. They don't last outside that bubble that was created in that environment. And that's why I feel like it's like a social experiment, is because it's curated. They take away their phone, they get them to make these intense emotional bonds in a very short window of time, which I think is really dangerous, because you could be love bombed, you can end up with a narc, you could be meeting someone's representative and they might not match up, as we come to find out. And a lot of the times people that were like dating some of these participants beforehand will come out and air them out, and we just find that they're an awful human being, and 9 times out of 10 abusive. So I don't know, that's why I kind of think that it's just a bubble, it's just a hub. Like, of course you're going to make a bond, of course you're going to think you want to spend the rest of your life with someone that you talk to for 10 hours a day and you don't get to see them. You're sight unseen, you're going in blind, you're like Stevie Wonder. But I think that's really dangerous, actually. I do, because I feel like you should get to know someone's heart. Like, I think they're trying to make that like love is blind, but I actually don't think that it is. Love is not blind. Maybe I'm just, except when it comes to Lauren and Cameron, because I said what I said. But anyway, so it says no control groups. There are no variables being tested against the standard population. I think the variable of like love or lust, I think there's a lot of lust and infatuation that happens, and people mistake that for love. Their perception and their discernment is basically tampered with. It kind of goes out the window. It's like they can't see anymore because those things are cut off. Like that access to like their higher self or like their intuition and their gut, to me, is cut off, because you're in such an unusual situation. Who's like, okay, I'm gonna go date someone and let the whole world see it, and I'm gonna let it be recorded? Not my black ass. I'm sorry, like I never would. I just think that that's a huge risk. That's a huge gamble. I feel like unless you really exhausted all your efforts, or you just were not finding like anyone that you were compatible with, or maybe the population is small, like the dating pool. But again, and I can't speak to other people, you know, to people who have gone on these shows, because maybe they really feel like this was their only option, or maybe sometimes I do feel like it could be divine intervention. I do feel like God could play a part. Like I truly think, this is probably sounds like and like the antithesis of what I just said, but I feel like Lauren and Cameron were meant to meet. Like I feel like that was their vehicle to meet, but then they took it and they really worked on their relationship. They really worked on their marriage, and maybe to a sense we might idolize them, but I think we could all really see genuine love, and we could see genuine sparks. And they both really, they like had set themselves up so that they could find each other, I think. And I really think that they were supposed to meet that way. Maybe that's just me, but again, I think that's one in a million. Like it's not everyone's experience, and it's not, I don't know, where was I going? It's not everyone's experience, and it's not, I think it depends on the two people, and I think it depends on their intentions. And I feel like, I can't talk today. And I feel like a lot of people don't have good intentions going on dating shows, and a lot of them are still on fuckboy behavior or fuck girl behavior, or, oh, I just want to sleep around. That's another thing that pisses me off, because it's like, this is like a lust fest. Like nobody's actually here. They're just gonna hook up a bunch of 20 hot somethings. Like, yeah, what would you do in that situation? There's booze. You don't have access to your phone, to your friends, to your family. You don't have access to the internet. What the fuck you think they're gonna be doing? You're gonna be fucking and drinking and doing everything that they do too. And of course you're gonna play it up for the cameras. You might do stuff outside of your norm because you don't have anything else to do. You're kind of at your wits' end. And I feel like too, a lot of the times there's a lot of mean girls on these shows as well, and it just exposes their true nature, which is kind of sick. So it says selection bias. Producers cast for specific personalities. Again, it's all a game. It kind of reminds me of the Hunger Games and Divergent. Like there's classifications, like the mean girl, the dumb jock, the sexually hypervigilant woman, you know, like what's the word? The hypersexual woman, excuse me. I was trying to think of the word. I couldn't think of it. So it says, often highly extroverted or emotionally volatile individuals, which we see time and time again, rather than a representative sample of people. Another thing, because I watch a lot of reviews of dating shows, especially like Jessie Woo and Between Two Worlds with Yanni, they talk about people that like, I think this is kind of sad, but how Black women are done on these dating shows, a lot of the times they're not like the preference or the number one choice. And that makes me sad too, because it's like someone should pick them and someone should love them as they are, not going for them knowing that they have a different type, whether it's a different race woman, maybe it's a woman from a different background, what have you, but you get my point. So number two, my other point, like I just said, manufactured environments. True experiments require natural observation. Well, we're observing them with the camera. Dating shows purposely create hothouse situations to induce stress and accelerate intimacy, which goes to my earlier point. The intimacy, the lust thing, you know, you're horny, you're trapped in a freaking bubble. Like, what would you do? You're trapped, you know, the house is like, their house or the places that they're in, they're beautiful and stunning locations or gorgeous locations, but the house that they're in or the space that they live in, to me, is like a prison. It's almost like, I don't want to compare, but the only thing I can think of is like being incarcerated. You're trapped, you're confined, and they at least get to get out. Some people, a lot of people who are incarcerated don't get to go out, but that was the only analogy I could think of. So it says contestants are heavily isolated from their normal lives, friends, and support systems. Producers dictate timelines, mandate certain dates, and design situations like introducing, new arrivals to trigger jealousy and confrontation. So they're preying on your emotions, and they're basically taking away your emotional intelligence and kind of putting it with swapping it for like emotional immaturity or emotional like being volatile. You know what I'm saying? Like I said earlier, like to me that's horrible. Like that, what's that one show? Where is it, Love Island? Maybe I have watched it before, but I feel like I watched another one that was like that. I can't remember the name of it. It's killing me, the name, but like they bring in new singles, like fresh single, like gorgeously attractive, like model level looking singles, and it's like that's really evil. And you know that typically people are going to go for that. They're going to fall for that because it's the glitz and the glam. It's the package that it comes in. But it's like, look at the interiority. Lift that package up. Look behind the lashes, the hair, or, the chiseled bod, like the 8-pack or whatever. Like, a lot of these people are beautiful, but they lack substance. And it's just like, okay, so you went with them for looks. Like, okay, yes, we need to be attracted to the people that we end up with. But we need to see, as my old therapist always used to say, do your core values align? He used to ask me that about Nick all the time. And he knew that they did, but he was just like, just as a reminder, this was like when we were headed towards marriage. Like we had been talking about an engagement, talking about taking things more seriously and locking it down. And he kept asking me that. And I was like, yes. Me and Nick are very different, but we're very similar. And the things that we're similar about are our values: family, hard work, showing up, being a good person, being kind to others, compassion. Those are things that those are non-negotiables for both of us. Like we're always very, very kind to anyone who gives us service. Family especially, we treat them really well. Like it's not, if it's up, then it's stuck. Like we don't get down like that. We're a household built on kindness. Okay. So it says 3, entertainment over ethics. Because these shows are television products, their primary goal is audience engagement and dramatic storytelling rather than ensuring the long-term mental health or happiness of participants. Unlike actual scientific studies, they are exempt from strict ethical boards, which I would definitely agree with. There's no one really policing these producers or policing the people that are interacting with contestants, hiring them, and keeping them on camera and keeping that film rolling. You know what I'm saying? So I also put, our dating shows social engineering. Dating shows are not usually classified as traditional state-sponsored social engineering, but they act as powerful mechanisms of cultural engineering. So I was kind of on the right path or track. By dictating narratives about romance, gender roles, and acceptable behavior, these programs normalize, societal expectations and influence how millions view love, marriage, and dating. While the producers frame dating shows as social experiments, critics and cultural analysts argue they are primarily designed for entertainment and viewer retention, which I would agree with. And to pause for a second, one thing that this made me think of, I'm gonna put my laptop down because my arm's starting to hurt. I know it wasn't entirely a dating show, or it really wasn't considered one, but I do think that there was dating, sex, and love, and things like that, or relationships of the romantic variety on there. This actually just made me think of Jersey Shore, how it was talking about it can influence your mind and influence how you move in the world, especially in the dating space. I want to add to that. I remember when I was coming up, I sound like a young buck. I sound like back in Nam, as one of my friends, Sarah, says. But it made me think of when Jersey Shore came out. I think I was in like high school. That tells you how old I am. Good child. But like I said, it came out when I was in high school, around like middle school, going into high school. And I remember I loved that show, not realizing how toxic it was. Now that I really think about it, I was like, bro, I should not have been watching that show. But I remember how much they were like hooking up on there. I mean, they were young, they were fly, they were Italian, they were gorgeous. And they were like, what's the words? Like socialites kind of, in a way, and reality TV stars. Like what would you do in their situation again? And I remember thinking that the behavior on there was appropriate, and I tried to mirror it in my own way. Like I always was like, not that I intentionally saw out hooking up, but like if I was out and about, like at a party or a club or something, like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm bringing someone home tonight. Like that was my mentality. And then it was just like, okay, sleep with people and cut them off. Like I thought that was cute. I thought that toxic relationships, especially the dynamic between Ron and Sammy. Like that, I thought that that was cute. I thought that I should be in a relationship like that. I'm like, if there's no relationship, if my relationship doesn't have strife, if it doesn't have chaos or dysfunction, then I don't want it. And I would date like actually pretty decent guys like in my earlier years, and I just was like, I gotta dog them out. Like I gotta be out here. Like I gotta just treat them like a Pop-Tart, like drop them on the floor, or just treat them as like disposable. Like drop them on the floor and leave them there. That's what I meant by Pop-Tart. But I remember thinking that that was really cute. And I was just like, oh, I want a guy like that. I want a guy. And I used to think that being friends with benefits was cute too. And I was like, why the fuck would I think that's cute? You're trading your body, you're trading your energy. It's still a relationship, but maybe it's just not committed. It's not serious or whatever the case may be. And I tried that and I just realized I'm a lover girl. Like, I can't be doing this. I was like, when I was single, I'd be like, okay, I can talk to whoever I want. But even then, if I talk to someone and I start to develop a rapport, or I start liking them or become infatuated, I would just lock in with them. I couldn't talk to 2 and 3 and 4 people at the same time. I just thought that that was really weird. I'm very much like, once I'm with you, I'm with you. And then once I get in an actual relationship with you, I'm like this. I'm like Stevie Wonder. I'm like, I can't see nothing else. Like, even now, me being married, I've been married for going on 4 years this fall, going on to 5 next year. And bro, if I see a guy, I'm looking dead on the floor. I'm like, there's no guys around. Like, all I see is my husband. Like, I'm like, I ain't got eyes. Chop my eyes off. Chop my tongue off. Like, I'm just like, I don't even want to look at a guy. I don't even want to give him the inkling that I might be interested, because I'm like, I'm off the market, baby. And I was like, I love that for me. But it just made me think of that, because I remember it influenced how I thought. And even like my friends and stuff, my friends were just very active, and they were doing their thing, and I was just like, yeah, I'm trying to be like that. And then I realized, I was like, that's not really me. For me, like, casual is not really for me, because I'm gonna fuck around and fall in love with you. That's what I'm gonna do. And I don't know. I just like the idea of being committed. I like settling down. I like building with someone. I like, like the other day I was just smiling to myself, because I was like, damn, the little girl who like really just wanted someone to see her and wanted someone to love her, like, I really got that. I did good. I was like, patting myself on the back. I was like, okay. Like, I felt good about my decision to marry my husband, but just certain things will solidify or remind me of that. So that's where I was going with that. So, hey. So then it says, manufactured drama. The primary goal is often entertainment rather than true compatibility. Producers heavily edit footage and manipulate environments to create conflict, which can set unrealistic expectations for real-world relationships, reinforcing stereotypes. Shows frequently rely on and enforce traditional gender roles. Hyper-competitiveness, that's another thing. I'm like, so I'm supposed to be with someone. They're supposed to be my ride or die, or they're supposed to be someone I'm in a relationship with and have a rapport with. And you want me to compete for their affection. You want me to compete for their loyalty, for their undying love. I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I would be fucking gutted if my husband and I went on a show and I gave him a hall pass, or I even thought to fucking fix my mouth to be like, oh yeah, baby, you can talk to other girls. You can sleep with other girls right in front of me. Don't you know I'll be throwing hands? Like, and I don't even be fighting. That's the crazy part. But I'm like, my ego could not handle it. And I know that about myself. I'm very self-aware. To me, that shows insecurity. And to me, that shows you don't know yourself if you're going to go sign up for something like that. And it's like, so you're going to put your relationship through the ringer or through the fire for what? I built that, so I'm not going to let someone else come in and just fucking blow it down. Like, the hairs off my chin, like the fucking big bad wolf. Like, no. I was like, if I work for that, I should benefit for that. So, and heteronormative relationship standards. Parasocial relationships. By watching contrived emotional scenarios, audiences form parasocial, one-sided bonds with contestants, which can unconsciously alter the viewer's own relationship expectations and standards. And I see this a lot, and I think that was another reason why I did this video, because I kept seeing Love Island content. I kept seeing people pick out specific contestants, and even in previous seasons, like last year's, I think I was watching a lot of Jessie Woo's content, as well as Between Two Worlds with Yanni, and it was just like, not them, but I think people put so much stock into the people that they see on TV, and it's like, we don't know them. They probably don't give a fuck about us. They're probably happy to take our money and happy to take our support and viewership, but they don't give a fuck about us. They're not worried about us. Like, I kind of saw it a lot with Nicolandria, and I was like, I don't even watch the show, and I don't even fucking know that term, but I was just like, they're beautiful people. They seem like they're really happy together from the things that I've seen, but I'm like, that doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't know these people. They don't know me. They don't even know I exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want them to be happy. You know, I wish everyone happiness, but I'm just like, okay, why are they in the news so much? They can have just as much clout as like an A-list celebrity. Not to say that they're not A-listers, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like there's so many articles, there's so many think pieces, there's so much content about it. And I'm like, okay, this is getting to be overkill. Like, it's almost too much. But again, I do think that that kind of attention or clout or fame or whatever you want to call it, I do think that that can run out. Not talking about them specifically, but I'm just like anybody in that type of situation. So it says consumerism. The aesthetics, dates, and lifestyles displayed on these shows subtly promote certain brands and lifestyles as the standard for romance, which I definitely agree. I'm like, that's not realistic. I was like, the thing that tripped me out, because I was talking to Nick about Love is Blind. We used to really like that show. I remember it came out like during COVID. That was like one of the things that like brought us joy, because it was like these people are really trying to find love in the thick of like a crisis in the world. But I remember I was like, what did I say to him? I was like, they basically do marriage in reverse. I was like, they go on a honeymoon first. So of course it's going to be on and popping if you guys have a connection, especially if you're infatuated enough with each other. You're probably going right to having sex. You're doing everything out of order. That, sometimes relationships do happen like that in real life, and then you'd be locked in for life. But I was like, in the real world, that typically wouldn't happen. You would like go on dates, you would start talking to them, getting that FaceTime, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, then they go through all this. I was like, it's kind of weird. They send them on a honeymoon, then they put them in the real world together, which to me, it feels like a simulation. I was like, it feels like a sim, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, what's her name? Tris Pryor from fucking Divergent. It kind of gave that, like, I'm just going to put this person in there. I'm going to move them across the board like I want, like a chessboard. And then they're forced to, they're basically, we see when they get into the real world and when they start blending their lifestyles together, how incompatible these people are. And instead of walking away, a lot of them will go through with it and then they get divorced 2 or 3 years later. So it's like, what's the point? It's like no one signs up to be married to get divorced. Now, if that person is treating you horribly and it's not working out and it's just a dead end and it's taking away your energy and just your vigor for life, totally I agree for it. But you will never actively hear me say, oh, just get a divorce. I really firmly believe in working it out. Like, TMI a little bit, my boss and his wife, they're having a little bit of marital strife. It's a small business, it's a small company, we see everything as a small space, and I constantly pray for them. I'm like, I hope you guys are able to work it out. You guys have been together too long to give up. Like, keep fighting. And I see both of them wanting it and I see both of them fighting, but I'm like, just keep going. Like, I don't think there's anything that you can't work out. Like, certain things you cannot excuse, but I was like, I'm a firm believer of sit down and work it out. Sit down and talk it out. I don't care if it takes you months. I don't care if it takes you years. I don't care if you got to go to therapy. I don't care if you got to move away and start over and cut off your hair and change identities. Do whatever you got to do. But there's nothing that you can't work out in a marriage. I'm a firm believer in that. And maybe I'm old school in that approach. But I forgot where I was going. I was getting all passionate about it. But yeah, and then I was going to say, they put them in the real world and then they send them off to the aisle. And I'm like, no, that's not how the real world works. But obviously it's for entertainment. It's a certain format, it's a certain script. Netflix and Kinetic Entertainment and all these production companies and all these producers and things like that, they have to curate this vibe, this show, that, the content, So I was like, I totally get it, but I do think it's a little fucked up and it's not realistic, because that's not actually how marriage is. Usually you're at least with someone for a couple years before you decide to take that leap. Some people get married sooner, some people it takes them longer to get married, but you're building a life with someone. You can't build a life with someone in 6 weeks. Like, you really can't. I'm sorry, I know I look so dead ass just now, but you really can't. So I wanted to go over one last point. Oh, and also before I go over this point, I just don't like dating shows anymore because I feel like they're all fake. Like, all of them have a certain aesthetic. They have like the surgery. Like, I looked at 90 Day Fiance, again, not entirely a dating show, but kind of sort of in that realm. All of them look exactly the same. They have the same plastic surgery, whether it's the lips, the boobs, the face. And I'm like, they didn't even need it because they were fucking stunning before. They have the same storyline. They do really crazy things to get that airtime, to get that viewership, and to get a viral moment. And it just feels so cookie cutter and it feels so played out to me. I don't think a lot of these people are together for actual love. I think they're together because they want to be on TV. They think that they'll get the same luck as like a Lauren and Cameron would. But it's like, people can smell authenticity. They can see through your bullshit and they can tell if you're being genuine or not. And a lot of the times you can tell that these people are not. And it just feels like, a sleep around fest. Like, honestly, it feels like a fuck fest. And it's just like, well, that's not cute, because that's actually really dangerous. And my thing is, when you sleep around, there's repercussions. Your body will feel it. Your spirit will feel it. If you're a lover girl, be a lover girl. If you want to be a hoe, then be a hoe. But, don't waste my time. And I think the quality of men that they pick on there, like, I just thought about, what was it? Queen's Court. That was like with Tamar. Was it Evelyn Lozada and Nivea? that show, I was just like, all these guys are a joke. I was like, I actually really love the show, and I love that it was black entertainers and black artists and black artisans. Well, Evelyn Lozada is not, but you know what I'm saying about Tamar and Nivea. I was like, it's people that I actually know, people that I've grown up watching. You know, I know who they are. They're very big in my culture. And it's just like, these guys are absolute losers. It's like they pick the lowest of the low or the bottom of the barrel. There was a couple of good guys on, well, decent quality, I want to say, but then it's just like they got sent home because they weren't spicy enough or they weren't freaky enough. But it's just like, okay. And it's just like that bond, a bond built on lust cannot last in the real world. It cannot. Like, it'll last for a little bit, but it's not gonna last forever. It's not gonna last permanently or evermore or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, it's just not, it's not sustainable like that way. The way you get together is the way you'll end, if you are supposed to end. And being in a relationship is really fucking hard. Being in a marriage is 1,000 times harder, bro. I say it all the time. I love being married. I love being a wife. That's actually like my pride and joy. I love being Nick's wife. I love being married to that man. Yes, it's hard as fuck. Yes, it has tested us. Yes, sometimes I'm like, bitch, I don't know if we gonna make it. But then I just pray, and then we just talk it out, and we just work through everything, like I said earlier. But it's really fucking hard. You be in the trenches with that person, you be like, damn. And really, it be your trauma coming out. It be your inner child coming out that be making it so fucked up. And your scars and your wounds, you be like, damn, you really want to see my ugly? You still love me through seeing my ugly? You be like, yikes. But anyway, I just wanted to throw those points out there because that was the whole point of the video. And I just realized, I was like, sister, you've been talking for 30 minutes and you ain't touched your main point. These feel like essays, like research papers or essays to me. That's why I like doing these. And it's so easy for me to talk. Remember at the beginning when I couldn't talk for 3 minutes? Now I can talk for a whole hour. Like, see, look at God, look at growth. Okay, so the next tab I put was, what impact does being on a dating show have on your mental health? Because I don't think we talk about this enough. It says, being on a reality dating show often inflicts several mental health challenges, primarily due to intense isolation, high pressure producer manipulation, and relentless public scrutiny. That's the other part. You get so much backlash as the show is airing, and even afterwards, like if you're doing reunions, if you're doing podcast appearances, interviews, and things like that, everything is up for consumption. That's terrifying to me. I don't want to feel all that. I don't want to receive all that backlash. I don't want to receive all that negative energy or that vitriol, that hate, because you know some people go crazy online. And you know the crazy part is they'll never say that shit to your face. They probably love you in real life. So it says, many contestants experience heightened anxiety, depression, and long-term attachment issues after facing sudden fame and intense social media backlash. And it's like, how do you counter that? How do you work through that? I'm sure that there's a lot of reality TV contestants or participants on dating or love or romance shows who probably had to go to therapy or probably haven't gone and need to go. The psychological toll unfolds across distinct phases. Filming phase. The environment is intentionally designed as a pressure cooker, and that's what I wanted to touch on too. Like, it's just waiting to boil over. It's like a pot of water on low, and it just bubbles over. Then all the bubbles come out, all the heat, all the tension comes out. Contestants are often isolated from friends and family, deprived of sleep, and subjected to highly manipulated situations where producers control the narrative. Like, the producers don't have your best interests at heart. They have their pockets and the network's best interests at heart. And another thing is, a lot of the time they're given substances, alcohol. So I'm like, you could become an alcoholic, you could become an addict. Like, to me, that's really dangerous. And don't let you have an addictive personality or have an all or nothing type of personality, because they'll just amplify what's already there. To me, it seems like a way to pull out someone's demons or to trigger someone's demons or to like make them, like amplify them. So it says the edit phase. Seeing oneself misrepresented or frankenbited, which is spliced audio and spliced video, to fit a dramatic archetype often causes intense distress as cast members are forced to relive highly vulnerable moments publicly. And I don't like that either. I can't even imagine like someone like on Jersey Shore or other shows like that. Post-show phase. The transition to public life brings severe vulnerability. Former contestants regularly report facing intense cyberbullying, which, how do you police yourself against the internet? You're just one person, you have millions of thousands of people coming at you. You can't. There's no way. Toxic body image pressures and a steep loss of privacy, often without adequate mental health support. And that just makes me sad, because it's like, again, who are they supposed to go to? And it's such a unique experience that you probably can only talk to like your castmates. You probably can only talk to anyone who's actually lived it and was in the trenches with you. So it's just like, we need to be kinder to our reality TV contestants. Now, some of them, they don't deserve kindness, but the really good ones who are on there for pure reasons and have pure intentions, I think do need to be. But I just think that all the dating shows are kind of the same. There's nothing exciting about them. The formats may vary, but the outcome still is the same to me, and it's just not enjoyable to watch. I really like seeing someone who maybe struggled to date, maybe was shy, maybe didn't have a lot of a huge dating pool to pull from, and they really go in there and they're really trying to go for gold and really try to find their husband. I do believe some people go in there, or their wife, but I just feel like people's intentions, they have ulterior motives. That's the thing I pick up, because I'm a good reader of character, or a good judge of character, and my discernment just be like, this girl's on here because she wants a book deal, this girl's on here because she wants a podcast, this girl's on here because she wants to be hot and she wants to be a sex symbol, or she's trying to do it for male validation. It's like, that's fine and dandy, sister, do that, but just know what comes with that. And then the guys, again, the guys just be so trash, and it usually be black men. That'd be the worst part. And I'm like, not all black men are like this. Not all men in general are like this. There's actually some really good men out there that'll be faithful, that'll treat you right, that'll help you raise a family, that really will have your back. I live with one, and he not black, but you know my point. So I don't know where else I was going with that, but yeah, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to see if anyone else had other thoughts. I think reality TV in general it's on a downward spiral. I'm just like, I don't watch no reality TV. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, I loved all reality TV. I was a huge fan of it. I wish I was actually had my channel when I was still watching it, because my reviews probably would have made y'all die. Like, do y'all remember my Love and Hip Hop reviews and Love and Hip Hop Miami? I used to love doing those. Those were my favorite, but God, they took so long, because I would have to like keep pausing it, type notes, keep pausing. I would have like 10 pages of notes. I'm like, bitch, I'm not getting paid for this, but I just really like doing them, because the thing I used to love about reality TV too is the psychology, but it's just like it perpetrates certain stereotypes, and a lot of the times they're harmful and they're not true to life. And it's just like, it's true to that environment, or it's true to that situation, but it's not true for everyone. There are women out here who really want relationships, who won't play games, who cook and clean for you, who show up for you, who will have your kids, who want to build with you. Like, not every woman is a goal-getter or a gold digger, Jesus Christ, a gold digger. Not every woman wants you to pay for her bag and this and that and the third. And it's just like the aesthetic too on these shows, they're not realistic. Not everyone's body looks like that. Not everyone can afford to get nails and hair and everything done like to that level, and not everyone can pay to have their body be T. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm not shaped anything like those girls on there. So I'm like, I don't even see myself. I don't even see anybody that I could root for. Yes, there's black women that's on there, but they all look like fucking models and IG babes. I don't look like that in real life. I want to see someone who looks like me, and I want to be able to relate and empathize with them and identify with them as a human being. But anyways, I don't know if I got shit else to say. I hope you guys like this TED Talk. I love you guys. Hope you have a good weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.